It's Monday. I'm a day late again. It's time for an update. Apologies, but I've just been busy, and I should be able to get this out tonight, I think. Busy working on my battery hunting. Whole other section of the channel. Feel free to look up battery hunters, and I'm probably the only one that's going to come up right now. But I did get some stuff done in the garden this past week. This is the arugula, which I'm letting dry out. I cut a bunch of it off, and these little pods right here should have some seeds. So I'll be able to plant some more without having to go through the mesclun and hoping that I get arugula. Now I've got a direct source of those seeds. I also pulled some dill, and I was letting it dry out here, but I don't think that that's going to be any real use dry. At least not that dry. So let's take a look. It's a bit cleaner than it was, and I've actually, even though I've been trying to save as much water as I can, considering the whole drought situation and everything, I realized that I had turned the water down too much. So it's back up a bit, not too much. I mean, I've got neighbors who are still watering every single day, and that really shouldn't be happening. But let's take a look at what we've got. Up above, I knocked the nasturtium down to that much, and there were some seeds, so I just planted them, and hopefully they will start to grow. You can now see the marigold in the back, and the patty pan has grown a nice big fruit for me. So I probably need to pull that thing off because these are wilting, but I'm going to get some watering done today separately for a different reason I'll explain in a minute. The odd 8-ball squash that doesn't really seem to be 8-ball squash is still growing, and I cut a bunch of it off. I just don't see any actual, well, there's a couple of fruits on there. We'll see what happens. The straight neck is developing fruit, so unless those are actually crookneck, but we'll find out. It does look like they're going to be yellow squash. So the Swiss chard, it's, oh wow, I hadn't realized it was that big. I may have to pick that before too long. Okay, so I've got another fruit to pick. The Swiss chard's doing good. Cleaned that up a little bit. There were 2 or 3 plants. I've yanked it down to just one. Nasturtium on this side, whittled down to that. Onions, don't really care about, but they're still growing, although there's a bit of deadness in there. Replanted the lettuce seeds, the romaine. This time I just spread all 3 of them in there, and we'll see what pops up randomly. The cucumbers are doing well. There's one in the back here, so you can kind of see what that's looking like. That needs to get bigger before I do anything with it, but we've already picked a few of them off of there, and they're pretty good. This is what the dill is down to, is just that one stem, and I staked it because the cucumber kept latching onto it, and that's why I had to cut off the pieces I cut off, because it latched on and kind of broke the main stems. So that's what I'm down to on that. I did plant some seeds in here. I forget exactly what's what. I need to get them labeled. I did do a note to myself on that. Bean, well, one of them's a bean plant, I know, because I looked at the beans right next to it, and I'm going, wow, these things are barely growing. They're still alive, but they're barely growing, so hopefully we'll get something from that. There's 2 different, you got the contender here, and you got a yard long there. There's supposed to be beans up with the squash, but it didn't really work out. So I don't know. And then we've got the remainder of the arugula plant, which isn't looking great. And down below we've got the same situation with the romaine. So we'll see what this produces. Up above, not looking the healthiest. I've got one tomato plant, looks like it's completely dead, right behind that blue sprinkler head. The onion I don't really care about. Other stuff is still kind of alive. So these are suffering. I need to figure that out. But I mean, I got some of this stuff cleaned up in the last week. I'll try and get to some of that and figure out what I can do. Meanwhile, let's go take a look at the back. Okay, more effort back here. I cleaned up the tomato plants because they were running into each other. So we've got the Genuine, which still has flowers on the top, but still not producing fruit as far as I can tell. The Roma really needed some help. Is this the Roma? I want to make sure, yeah, this is the Roma. Unfortunately, there's some dead stuff in here. I've been pulling some of that off, trying to keep the plant as healthy as I can, but I had to stake it because it was falling over. Next to that, we've got the yellow pear, which has gotten really tall. It was falling over in this direction and causing problems. So by putting a couple of stakes and some of the green garden tape, I managed to kind of get it back under control. The poblano pepper plant, I should probably harvest this pepper because it's going to pull over the rest of the plant, but I've got some flowers on there, so we're doing pretty good. Cherry pick, I don't know what happened. All the nasturtium planters in front, I'm not sure what's happening. They're not working. Nothing in the nursery, nothing really in here. And then I tried to kind of get the spoon tomatoes back under control. And so Mom's been coming out here and picking off various, I said, let's just pick off what we can, even if they're not quite ripe, because they'll ripen inside and then we can enjoy them, and maybe that'll put some energy back into the plant growing. And actually it kind of looks a bit greener here. Plus they're getting more water, part of the same program. So that leaves us with the roses, which I got to take care of today. I'm going to feed these and then put a lot of water back here, just hand watering. Let's see how Mom's stuff is looking, because that's getting a little bit more water now. Yeah, I'd say it's about the same. The bougainvillea up here is getting really scraggly. This one's just not getting tall. So I think we need more water. I don't think it's less water. I think it needs to be more water. But we've got the climbing rose. At some point I got to get that back under control. And then I get these two bushes on either side, which I need to get some control over. So that's where we are. Stuff is getting done, but it's hot. We're in heat waves, so it's hard to get too much done. That brings us around to the other side, where things look like they're drying out. The bougainvillea here is not as lush as it once was. The purple orchid tree, my baby, still growing, but it's got a lot of yellow on it. So I think we need more water over here. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Same thing with the lawn, really. It needs more water. When I bumped the others up, I bumped this up a little bit, but I think it might need a bit more. So maybe I'll go make that adjustment to the program. Otherwise, that's pretty much the update for this week. So take care of yourself, take care of the ones around you, and may your thumb be green.